Going on with Sputic, bring you guys another gameplay commentary. This is Black Desert Online, and this is a commentary about the current meta, and more specifically, the meta when it comes to sorcerers. So, and this pertains to the console and not the PC. I play on PlayStation 5 and the North American server, so I can only speak to console and not necessarily, PC. I can just do like an overview of it, but when it comes to the meta on console, and this is starting from the rework. So on console, after the rework, the meta was high damage, right? You saw a lot of players going with human damage and just foregoing Coombs, right? Coombs used to be a thing, but I mean, of course, there were some players who stuck with Coombs, but a majority of players went the human damage route. Now, the reason for that is, to me, is it was quite obvious, right? We didn't have the HP journals, we didn't have C15, we were at C9 at that time, and rework. I think it came out in 2021, so I think it's been 2 years or close to 2 years. And so we didn't have, like I said, the HP journals. We didn't have C15, right? We had C9, so I think C10. So you had a lot of players who, because of that, right, you couldn't go high defense. And of course, you still had your mystics and strikers who, because of the way they're set up, they can go high DP, high evasion, and have little to no. I don't want to say little to no, but have a decent amount of AP and still be able to kill you. Sorks are the flip of that, right? A Sork can go complete glass cannon, little to no DP, and still survive, and dish out a lot of damage, right? So that was the meta for console after the rework, right? And so, you know, I played that meta. I like that meta. Again, high damage meta it's in the favor. It favors a Sork, right? A Sork, not only does a Sork have ways to mitigate damage through frontals and one or well two iframes, but one has no cooldown with a stam cost of 250 stamps. So this is not, where you can just spam Nitro. But, if you manage your stam well and you know how to use your frontals and you know the matchups, you can almost always mitigate damage. Even the players with really high damage, right? Uh, so that was the rework. And then Land of the Morning Light came out. Well, prior to that, HP journals came out. Then we got C15. Players still kind of played a high damage meta because they just didn't have access to evasion. And a lot of players, if you really want to be tanky in this game, you go evasion DP hybrid, right? High DP and high evasion, and you're good to go. And some classes can do that, right? Mystics and strikers, mooses, ninjas, right? Uh, but once the Land of the Morning Light came out, a few things changed. A few things changed, right? One, you got crystals, right? Ultimate Whom. You got some evasion crystals. You have the tiers where the one that's most wanted and that's almost never up. Well, I've never seen it up on the central market is the evasion version of tiers, right? They have a PvE one, they have a more of a DR damage and accuracy one, bong wongs. That's the one I use, and then they have the evasion version of that, right? So now I'm noticing a lot of players going with evasion. I've seen more evasion lawns in the last 2 weeks than I've seen in the entirety of me playing this game, right? And I took like 6 months off because not 6 months, but 4 months off to grind. And the reason for that is that I ran into, this is the first time that's ever happened to me, right? I'm 332 AP, and I ran into, this is right after the Land of the Morning Light patch came out for console. I ran into an awakened evasion sage, right? That was an eye opener to me because I was not able to do any damage to this player, right? So I went ahead and I started grinding for Pen Lunar, and I got Pen Lunar, and like most players, I went with Ultimate Hooms, and I realized that that just was not the thing, right? And I'll say this again, I'll stress this again. As a Sorc, you should always go damage. You have so many ways to mitigate damage, right? You should always go damage. The only thing I would say, if you really want to be tanky and do damage, go with health cups and maybe one of the Eye of the Rune rings, a pen version, so you get 200 and some odd, 255 HP. Just go HP so you can somewhat mitigate the damage and still be able to dish out a lot of damage. So what I've noticed is that a lot of players went evasion and DP, right? And so now the damage has lessened, right? DP has gone up because of evasion and the crystals, and damage has also gone down because players are running Ultimate Whom. And now, as a Sorc, again, you can go as much damage as you want. Of course, you should definitely have at least one accuracy accessory, and then you're good. You get to play in a realm where players have literally gone the DP and the defensive route, and you've gone more of high damage route, and you're still able to kill players. You're at a better position now, even though the meta has slightly shifted to high damage but high evasion. So you're in a really good space. Anyway, I'm out.